Jack, take us through this here, because Ziggy and I, our initial reaction from the Steeler side of things, we said that the Steelers really lack direction right now. From an outsider standpoint here, you seem like you want to compete by going after Aaron Rodgers, who will seemingly be a Steeler at some point. But then you make a move like this where you trade away one of his biggest weapons, and if you bring Aaron in now, is that offense ready to try and win a Super Bowl? Probably not. But at the same time, you're acting in all different directions, and it's kind of bizarre to think of where the Steelers are trying to get to.
Oh, I legit had no idea what we're doing. Like, I woke up today and I saw this break at about 8.
It was like 8 a.m.,
like
right?
8 something in the morning, Eastern time here. And I was puzzled. I had no idea why. I mean, this would have been, like I said earlier, and my little reaction while at work, this would have been the Steelers' best receiving core in years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a fun duo to bring in a young quarterback to in Will Howard. I don't understand it at all. I mean, he is a head case. I get it. And Pittsburgh tends to not like those. But
you know what Ziggy also mentioned about it was that George Pickens, if you just let him play out this contract and you didn't re-sign him, the compensatory pick you would have got when he left in free agency was a 3rd-round pick probably. So you didn't
probably a 4th.
I mean, he's
assuming they don't sign the right kinds of qualifying free agents. But
I get it.
3rd is hard.
Like, he's a hothead, but he's a super talented receiver.
And he's 24 years old.
And he's 24.
So it's weird to me that the compensation that Pittsburgh received felt low as well for a star receiver.
Well, I'll tell you what that means, because I don't think Pittsburgh has any real reason to want to send to Dallas over anyone else. I think it means people around the league have sort of learned their lesson from the Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, all these debacles. If there was the market for a player like George Pickens, 24-year-old elite, if there were no character or on the field or off the field issues, it's probably at least a 1st-round pick.
Is that
maybe a pair of seconds?
You think it has to be that? You think it's his shenanigans?
I mean, think about teams were willing to offer a 1st-round pick for T. Higgins. I don't think George Pickens is any worse of a player. Again, setting aside all the character issues on the field, I don't think he's any worse of a player than T. Higgins. Is he?
I mean, I'm seeing some comments and stuff, and people are reaching out to me as well. Like, we saw one of our good friends, Mr. Keenan, big Jets fan. He said addition by subtraction, and I understand the guy is not like he's on the field. He gets ahead of himself. He's dumb sometimes, but he's just super talented.
No, he's amazing.
It's hard to see this team being better without George Pickens on it.
And at the end of the day, that goes back to the point I was saying in the beginning, is if you're bringing in Rodgers, you're trying to win right now, and losing George Pickens for a season, only getting a 3rd-round pick back just doesn't feel like a realistic move that aids to winning.
When we take Lenoris Sellers next year in the 3rd round, we win the trade. But
who's in your receiving room right now? You have DK Metcalf, Robert Woods, Van Jefferson, Roman Wilson. I'm sorry. Van Jefferson's gone now. So it's Robert Woods and DK Metcalf come in. I just don't think that's enough.
Don't forget Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin's actually a good player.
He's fine.
We replaced Pickens with a little slightly worse Pickens. That's what we did.
Yeah, some people are mad that you said that, but I don't think
Pickens is better than Metcalf.
I think
on the field, given the age, given the injury history, I'd rather have Pickens. Yeah. But DK Metcalf is less volatile. You must admit.
Like, we pretty much just swapped Pickens for another Pickens, who's like not even as good.
And all things considered, Pickens has been, we talked about this today, that he's been pretty consistent and he plays all the time. Like, he's a great receiver. He's a very good receiver.
Every game these last years with Pickens, every game for the last freaking 26 years. Mm-hmm. But with George Pickens, I've yelled at the TV saying, just throw it in this guy's direction.
You said that for years.
I'm like, yeah, just throw it up to this guy. I'll come down and grab it. And he does. Like, every time he's targeted, I feel like he catches the ball. And that's when the offense is going well, hitting its strides, when Pickens is doing his thing. And forget Aaron Rodgers, but even, let's say, Will Howard. If you bring in Will Howard, you think he could be something. Pickens and Metcalf is awesome. But now get rid of Pickens. It makes no sense.
And Ziggy mentioned earlier when we were recording, he said, and you do it after the draft.
After we take your quarterback.
So now, and you didn't draft the receiver, and you don't have receivers coming in.
I woke
so it makes
up,
no sense.
I woke up and I had no idea what
Jeffrey, Jack's little brother, Jeff must have been pissed.
He was kind of like mind boggled as well. He's like, why? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, we're kind of with you, Ziggy. I know that you were talking earlier today when we were breaking down the trade. Are you as mind boggled as Jack is?
I'm not as mind boggled just because I have not over the years come to expect competency from this Pittsburgh front office. I haven't liked a lot of the moves they've made of how they've handled their team. The difference of this move, I think, is this doesn't feel like them trying to grasp for relevance. Mm-hmm. If they're moving on from Pickens, they're saying, we don't think he's getting a big deal. We want the pick next year rather than in 2027. We don't want to play the compensatory pick game. And they're not adding Aaron Rodgers. I think this makes sense. I can at least see what they're going for, right? You're saying, look, we're moving on. We want to see what we've gotten. Will Howard, DK Metcalf. We think he's a better character person, whatever. But if you're signing Aaron Rodgers, this doesn't make sense. So if you're moving off Pickens, you're sort of shopping TJ Watt, you're willing to transition. And in particular, if you want an excuse to fire Mike Tomlin when he doesn't mail in a winning record next year of this roster, great. Makes sense. I understand. If they bring in Aaron Rodgers, which they're probably going to, I'm going to throw up my hands and be confused.
But they're going
to bring in Rodgers. But that is going to happen.
I'm confused anyway. Like, you draft a quarterback this year he's probably a half decent quarterback. Why get rid of your number one receiver? Like, Rodgers or not, it makes no sense to me.
Because you don't want to re-sign George Pickens.
They're tired of the antics and they don't want to pay him $30 million. But that's where it's weird, Ziggy, to me about the compensatory pick.
But there also comes a point, though, where
the compensatory pick formula is complicated. Maybe they want to add free agents next year. They've got a lot of players leaving. You don't know if George Pickens is only fetching a third-round pick. It's not clear what he's getting in free agency. It's not clear how much playing time he's getting. You're not getting the pick until 2027. Like, compensatory picks are not as simple as just like add a player and get them. Mm-hmm. Right on the roster next year, the Steelers have 28 players.
Yeah.
Now they can get draft picks, and some of those are guys that it's not clear they're going to want to keep around. Like at Cam Hayward at the money he's making, like Minkah Fitzpatrick at the money he's making. So if they're planning to add a bunch of free agents next year, you can't count on getting a compensatory pick for Pickens. So that is to enter into it too.
I just think it's time to blow this shit show up. like, is that crazy to say, Jack? You have this team, and I understand that people always want to win now, try and win now, stay competitive, but it's just like
this
at some point,
the worst roster the Steelers have had in 20 years.
At some point, it's like they're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, I mean,
getting rid of Pickens says that they believe they have no chance to do anything.
Yeah, they're trying to avoid becoming the New Orleans Saints.
I'm sorry?
They're trying to avoid becoming the Saints. It's just why they're blowing everything up. I respect that at least.
Are they? I don't know.
I move TJ Watt. Move on from this. Stop clinging to the past. You don't want to be the Saints.
But I don't think that you blow things up when you're a team who's made the playoffs and now you get better.
But that's why
it's a team who's made the playoffs and you get DK Metcalf.
Well, yeah.
How close is this team to Kansas City, to Baltimore, to Buffalo? I think maybe they've gotten a little bit better, but they did not close that gap because this defense is getting older and worse every single year.
Yeah, and I don't think it helps you in any way to get rid of your superstar receiver.
If you don't want to re-sign George Pickens and you're trying to move on to the future, I can see what they're doing.
Maybe they wind up going after. And now I know these names aren't going to make Jack very happy here, but
Lazard. I've seen
Lazard. But who's around? Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Gabe Davis was released. Maybe one of them can come in and be decent. Like it's a disappointing move for Steelers fans who wanted to see Rodgers with Pickens and Metcalf and believed if you believed Aaron Rodgers or if you think he has a year left in him and can stay upright behind the Steelers' offensive line, then yeah, you were expecting to compete this season. Losing Pickens with the lack of weapons they already have, to me, it just makes it really hard.
I was thinking Will Howard with Pickens and Metcalf.